Hey there, folks, and welcome back to another market update episode. My name's Lucas Martin. I'm our business development manager, and this is a new segment where I pick the minds of our industry experts here at ARC Advisory Group. We'll learn about the scope of their research, growth inhibiting factors, growth drivers, get a better idea about the competitive landscape, and also any interesting facts they might have picked up along the way. Stick around to stay up to date with everything ARC. Folks, and welcome back to another market update episode. Today I'm joined by Patrick Arnold. He's been an analyst with ARC for about 2 years now. Patrick recently finished a market study on OT network management software, and I wanted to set some time up to share a little bit more with the audience. Thanks so much for the time today, Patrick. Can you just lay out maybe how you define the scope of this market for the audience today?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Lucas. So this study is looking at the specialized software that monitors, manages, visualizes, and diagnoses industrial network infrastructure. And some of the companies we cover in this research do sell their products for both IT and OT environments, but this research specifically is only looking at that data from the industrial side. And alongside the software, this research is also going to cover the services included, and those range from network planning and design to things like implementation and training as well.
Sure. So Patrick, why don't you share with the audience, just give them an idea about the supplier landscape, maybe a couple of the leading players and an up and coming smaller one you wanted to mention maybe.
Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting dynamic in the market right now because this OT network management space in the past has been the exclusive domain of the industrial hardware suppliers. And now we're starting to see more, as OT spaces are intersecting more with IT spaces, and they're seen as more of an extension of the enterprise network, these suppliers who have not worked with industrial customers are investing in this domain and updating their products to meet the requirements of some of these industrial environments. So on the historical OT side, we're talking people like Siemens, and on the IT side, there's people like SolarWinds who in the past have only marketed their products for IT, but there's a lot of overlap now. And on the other side of things, these industrial vendors are, updating their portfolios to include a lot more functionality.
Sure, absolutely. So you maybe touched on it a little bit, Patrick, but can you give the audience an idea about maybe some growth factors in this market? It sounds like it is growing. Maybe give the audience an idea about that.
Yeah, so the biggest factor leading to the growth in this market right now is the rapid expansion of industrial networks. And we're speaking in terms of size, in terms of the number of devices, as well as the complexity and the diversity of these devices as well. So these networks are growing to sometimes, hundreds or thousands of devices depending on the organization, and they're combining Ethernet, wireless, cellular together, and it is just no longer time or cost effective to configure, manage, or maintain these networks manually the way that they were done in the past.
I mean, that makes sense a lot. So let me flip that question on you a little bit, Patrick. Was there maybe a growth inhibiting factor, maybe some cybersecurity angle to this, maybe another one I might be missing that might be inhibiting the growth in the market?
Yeah, so with any industrial software, there's always going to be the cybersecurity concern. And certainly a lot of the suppliers have sort of built in this cybersecurity angle into their products from the bottom up. And another sort of major inhibitor that I came across in my research is that for many of these industrial networking suppliers, the network management software is used as a way to facilitate the primary hardware purchase in a lot of cases. And some of these companies charge very little or even nothing for their network management products. And I think this sort of speaks to the traditional view of industrial software, which is becoming less common as end users expect more functionality and long-term support. And the vendors themselves are looking to software as an additional revenue stream in its own right. In a world that's becoming more and more software defined.
Yeah, absolutely. So you had kind of touched on it just briefly there. But let's say I'm an asset owner, a technology end user looking to purchase, a system like this. Do you have any strategies you would recommend to these folks?
Yeah, I think the most important factor there is you need to match the level of sophistication of your organization and the life cycle of the network management tools to your organization's needs. So, if you have a smaller network and there's less IT-oriented expertise in your enterprise, there are many products on the market that provide a very streamlined user experience and comprehensive support services to patch those gaps. And if your industry has very prolonged equipment life cycles, you can start looking at the software that has, guaranteed decade or longer update support and, ways to support these longer tailed projects. But as always, it's the right tool for the right job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me flip that again on you. Let's say I'm, one of these larger suppliers, a service provider, maybe even an EPC. How can companies like that benefit from market research like this in your view? How can buyers of this study benefit?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, this research has a lot of great information. We've included market shares of all the major suppliers in the network management software space. We've got breakdowns from lots of segmentations in terms of industry, world region, and other things specific to this domain, like the environment of the software that's deployed into, as well as we've got outlines for key trends and supplier recommendations. And we've also got some detailed profiles for all the participants in this market as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Patrick, I know you put a lot of time and effort and resources into producing such a quality report. Just wanted to give you one last chance. I know we're kind of running out of time. Was there any other key trends or points you wanted to share with the audience before we wrap today?
Sure. Sort of on the budget side of things, I thought it was pretty interesting that, historically network management software has been predominantly funded by sort of dedicated OT budgets. But that dynamic is shifting now, and a greater portion of expenditures for this product is being allocated from IT, cybersecurity, and even digital transformation budgets. And I just think that is speaking to the sort of growing recognition of the role that OT networks are playing in sort of achieving the broader organizational objectives of a modern enterprise.
Absolutely. Well, on behalf of the audience, really wanted to thank you for the time today, Patrick. Just a reminder, folks, we'll have more information, more links in the description below. You can contact us directly through the link provided. We'd love to help. We love to talk about how, market research, data, market shares, forecasts, et cetera, can help your company out in the future. So thanks again. Really appreciate the time today, Patrick. And we'll see you on the next market update episode.
Thanks so much.
Being good.